Hey guys, this is Juno and welcome back to another Summoners War video. If you guys have clicked this video to actually know what I've learned this season, and I think it was a big learning point. It wasn't just something that I was holding off to say, it was actually something new. Hope you guys don't click away from it because I know it could be a little boring because I'll be talking a lot rather than showing some interesting or funny gameplay, which I rarely do. But I had this belief that RTA was an extremely stressful content and it was not fun for the general public, including myself. I don't play too much, and it's been shown through the past few seasons, which really goes against one of my advices, which I should have taken into heart, which is to play a lot to get better in the game. And because of it, I think the past few seasons I have more likely performed poorly compared to when I actually was trying to go for a new rank, which was that G1 rank. As you see here that I ended P2, and if you guys saw one of those videos where I played the last few days for the season, I said that I'll try to play as much as possible. I'll try to use all my wings until the last day, and I did play till the last day. I did use most of my wings up to that point, but I did stop once I was safe P2. Because I had like 10 wings left, I think maybe 10 to 15 wings. You guys can see it right here if you guys calculate how many wings were left. I think it's like 10 to 15. The reality was I had to win all those 10, or at least close to that, to get into P3. I didn't think that was going to happen, so I just stopped because it was on a weekend. I had more things to do, so I felt like it wasn't a whole big of a priority anymore. But from those last few days, I have learned a lot in playing RTA. Now, I know a lot of people stress about RTA, especially due to the violent factor. And I did see myself getting frustrated as well. But we can't all deny the fact that violent is something that you take advantage as well, unless you're playing a full Swift comp, which is rare in today's meta. If you are one of those people, sorry. If you're going all Swift, I have to say that you are definitely not utilizing one of the more oppressive mechanisms in the game, which is violent runes. So that's a choice of your own. If that's the way you decide to play the game, it's all on you, to be fair, because it's something that's available to you and you're just not deciding to use it. But that's not the point of this. During this entire season, I have posted a few of my games where I did get into G1, me climbing up to P3 G1 fairly easily with one playstyle, which is the Oliver Chongnam, which did get nerfed. However, as the seasons progressed, especially getting to the end of the season, we've seen a lot of people figuring out how to deal with that comp. And I struggled a lot. And the biggest struggle was the tankier comps, the second turn teams, which really, if you have a good team, if you have a good understanding, you shouldn't have a hard time like I did dealing with such comp. But because of my inexperience in this season with only 250 games, it got to a point where I just didn't know what to do. And you guys probably seen that with my pick and ban during those videos. I mean, it's understandable and it's something that I should have expected because out of this 240 games, I think around 140 games was the last few days. I only played like 100 games throughout the season, and I thought that it was working well, which is false. Also, I want to let you guys know that even though I was losing a lot, I was genuinely enjoying the game. I was enjoying RTA because yes, I was losing, but at the same time, I started winning as well. I started to figure out what worked out better than other things than my usual comp. I know that if you just lose, you get stressed out, but finding ways to beat certain comps, doing it the right way, brings enjoyment too. What I want to tell you guys is that one, I know violent proc can be stressful and it could be one of the biggest reasons why a lot of people leave the game. But at this point, if you played for a long time, I'm just gonna take it, right? It's just part of the game. It was there from the beginning. If I really hated that aspect, I probably would have left a long time ago. I think a lot of us should not complain about violent procs because there were games, even in mine, where I won due to violent procs, and there should be the vice versa. Two is that pick and ban is king. I think pick and ban is really what determines why you'll lose or why you'll win. And I know that because I've seen a lot of people doing a lot better with lower rune quality than I have, or doing worse when they had equal or a little better rune quality than I had. I know a lot of people say like box and runes are the one thing that just, carries your account, but that is factually not true in my eyes. I think having a good game sense, having the game knowledge, knowing how to draft counters, essentially pick and ban, really takes you far. Of course, if you have like beginner rune quality, you're not going to go far. But if you have it up to a certain point, it doesn't have to be like super efficient. Like, I do emphasize on efficiency, but even outside of that, I do think that if it's just up to a certain standard, I do think pick and ban could get you really far. I have gotten a lot of comments on videos, even in my Discord. I think for a while, I don't know if Pujuice watches this channel anymore, my videos, but he is in the channel still, in my Discord channel. And I remember him saying that he had a friend with, rune quality that is not even close to mine, but is constantly in G2 and G3, which was mind-boggling, and I didn't believe it. But I have actually seen a good amount of accounts recently that are doing a lot better than I'm doing. So what else can I blame? Yes, they maybe might have a few more LD5s, but I do know for a fact that most of those accounts don't abuse that LD5 as a first pick. It's a counter pick or something like that. I think like the comp that I was running, the Oliver Chongnam, I've seen people go to G3 to get G2, G3 with that comp. And yes, they might have slightly better rune quality, but it's not too far off. I do think pick and ban is king in the end. So figuring that part out is really enjoyable. And that's what I started to get playing the last few days. The third thing is that don't stress out too much playing the first few months. The last month, maybe that's when you want to get serious. And I was a player up to this point where I would care so much about my rank in the middle of the season, in the beginning, mid, season. It means absolutely nothing. Because of it, I wouldn't run my RTA as much. I would run, maybe a game to just hold my rank, 5 games to climb a little. It doesn't matter. I would recommend to play all your 30 wings. Yes, it could be stressful, but like I said, I learned the most these last few days when I played all my 30 wings. Whether I was losing more or winning more, it was definitely, there are things I got out a lot more rather than, trying to hold that rank. Of course, if you're trying to go for a new rank and you think you're very close, you could just try to hold your rank till the end, just follow that climb and sneak into a new rank. I think that's totally fine if you're going for a new rank, especially if it's a new colored rank, right? If you're a Conqueror player trying to take the Punisher, yes, that's pretty big. Punisher player trying to take the Guardian, that's pretty big. If you're a Guardian 1 player trying to get into G2, G3, I understand that is pretty big. However, if you're not like that player who's really, really cautious of your current rank, I would advise to play all your wings or most of your wings. And I think I'm going to try to do that next season because I said this multiple times that I'll try to use most of my wings. However, I didn't do it because I was so cautious of my rank. But the last few days playing all my wings, I've noticed that means nothing. It literally means nothing. So guys, I think playing out all your wings during the season before that last rush is the best thing to do, especially knowing what's strong against your comp, or if you really think your comp has flaws, it gives you time to switch things up or ruin new things. And I think that's the only way that you could really improve in the game. And that includes myself, because you could see that for my past ranks, I haven't been improving, to be fair. After I reached these, and even these, I did play the most, 500 games, 400 games, but it isn't as much still compared to a lot of these other players that plays 1,000, even 2,000 games. I think if you play like every day, I think you get like 2,000. I'm not too sure, but I have seen people that played 2,000 plus games. Is that possible? I think it is. And those are the people that really know things. They pick things up because they have played the same, or they went against the same comp or similar comps multiple times. They have drafted things, they have ruined things, knowing how to deal with those things. Even these, maybe it could be flukes or something like that. Maybe I was lucky with the meta, But 500, 400 games, yes, it's better than now. Maybe that's why I got a better record. But you could see here 100 games, 93 games, and this one here 240 games. It's just simply not enough. And I think that this is mostly because I was too cautious and too scared of me dropping middle of the season, which literally meant nothing. What I should have done is continuously, research comps, figure out what I could draft against the comps that I'm weak against, and or maybe even switch comps all together. Because if you watch other G3 players, I can't really say for every G3 player, but even Obabo, Skit. I watch Obabo sometimes, but it's very hard to play his comp. But even we see him using different playstyles. Yes, it could be for the video. Obviously, for a content creator, he wants to play different styles, show different comps that works. So maybe that's the reason why. Sean B also does a lot of this. He switches up comps. He uses different comps, and again, maybe it's because he's a content creator. But I watched a specific G2 player. He's a Korean G2 player called Skit, and this past season he played multiple comps. He started with the Oliver Jeongnam. He switched up to a Cardinal second turn team. He also played the Twin Angels and stuff, and he still ended G3. But his thought process was always that, okay, this gameplay does not work against the highest top 10 or top 20. I have to switch my thing up and see how it works. So I think you need that type of mentality to really try and up your game and go strive for a new record. And again, if you watch him, he's a content creator as well. He goes live every day. He does all his wings almost every day. I don't know all in the video, but I know he uses most of them every day. So he probably has thousands of games per season. He was once a legend player, so he definitely knows how to deal with certain things. His game knowledge is insane. It's top notch. There's also another player called Angry Bird, if you translate his name. He started with Oliver Jeongnam. He's also a player that does not stop. He plays all his wings till the end of the day, whether or not he's safe G2, safe G1, safe G3. So I know he was safe G2 till the last day, but because he was going for that G3, he played and he ended G1. Crazy. I really give props to all of these people that played the last day, play out all their wings to try for a new record. He did get G3 last season. This season he ended G1. For me, I mean, knowing who I am, knowing how I get very anxious of my rank, it feels like it's going to be very hard for me to continue playing when I secured a G2. But that might be because I never reached G2. It's different for him. He reached G3. G2 doesn't mean anything to him, so that's why he continued playing. So those were like some of the core things I have figured out this last few days playing. But I have to say, it was fun. It was fun. I am still debating on what I should do the next season. I've gotten a lot of messages from my Patreons, people in my Discord saying they got a new rank. I think somebody I reviewed, and I noticed he's a streamer now, also reached G3. And when he got my review, he was, I think, P3 top. And I said in that review, I think you get G1. And a year later, he got G3, which is insanity, right? So I give props to him as well. I didn't see how many games he played. He did request a new review, so we'll be checking out his account. See how good of an account it is, like what are the differences, how efficient his runes are. Box probably plays a decent part as well, but still we can't deny the fact that it's a great record. There's a whole lot of people that have a great box. There's a lot of people, we know LD5s are rare, but still a lot of people have them. But a lot of people do not reach G3. So there's a big difference. There's a big difference from having a good box and then getting a G3 record in RTA. So we'll be checking out his account. I'll start prepping for the next season. I know the Win Nobura got kind of fun to use. The buff seemed pretty big. We'll have to see how it deals with the control comms or with, I guess, more of those debuff comms. But still, you don't want to get pushed back and stuff. So there are ways to counter this girl. But I heard her buff is pretty annoying and pretty OP. So we'll have to look into that as well. But that was it for this video, guys. Hope you guys got a new record if you guys did. I know I saw some Reddit posts saying like this season was the worst. It was a lot harder. I have seen a lot of players actually that are usually G2, G3 struggling as well in the lower ranks. So I know some people had it harder, but again, a lot of people did a lot better. So it's just how you adapt, I guess, to the meta, and I guess how the meta favors you. Because again, there probably was stronger comps overbuffed units maybe in this meta. Cheongnam was one of them. So I tried to abuse that. I tried to abuse that, but kind of failed because I never got the experience to truly figure out how to deal with the counters of the Cheongnam pop. So there's just ways that you could deal with things. So I hope that people enjoy more RTA. I think that's the biggest thing. It's hard to enjoy it when it feels like you're losing all the time, but I think you need that one click where you start to think that you're figuring out how do you deal with the things you're losing against, and then it becomes fun again because you're like, oh shoot, it's not just the violent procs, it was just my picks, it was just, you know, I never drafted correctly against those counters. Once you figure that out and once you feel that, I think that you'll be like, oh, it's less of a violent proc thing, because again, there are games where you win due to procs. It's not that you just lose from procs all the time, you also win from them. So it's almost like a 50-50 thing. Outside from that, if you're still losing and losing 70, 80%, 90% of the time, it's not a violent proc issue most likely, it's your pick and ban issue, and you're not drafting correctly on how to deal with the opponent's draft that is countering your draft. I feel like I might be getting like all these comments saying like this still will not be an esports. I agree to that. It's not going to be esports. There's too many RNG factors. Yes, I get it. We need a very big sample size to really even out the violent proc wins and losses. But esports, I think that pool is way too small. It's just that in that instance, the player who gets more luck essentially, right? Because the pool is small, it's going to feel more of a luck thing. They win the match. So I think you'll never win esport. I totally agree on that. But in the biggest scheme of things, if you're playing thousands of games, I think you'll feel, I'm just saying that you'll feel less of blaming violent procs than your pick and ban or your playstyle or your rune quality. Let's say that you meet a wall due to that. Anyhow, that was it for this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it was just more of a talk. I didn't really show anything. I just wanted to show you guys where I ended, and I did play a lot at the end of the season because I played more than throughout the season. It's just that experience is a big thing, so hope we all play a lot more. I'm gonna aim for maybe at least, let's say, 500 plus games for the next season. Hope you guys do the same, and I'll see you guys next time.